Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy Thursday. It has been one of those days. I'm in a whole lot of back-to-back meetings, and I'm kind of just like, whoa, it's Thursday already? Time to stream. Let's go. This song's such a vibe. This piece, this song. I know once again, like if it doesn't have words, it's supposed to be called a piece, and then if it doesn't have words, it's a piece. If it does have words, it's a song. So is this considered a piece? I think so. But anyway, what are y'all working on? Hello. Okay, cutting off the music. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Good Thursday morning indeed. I have been honestly just trying to stay above water with all of the different things going on in the world, in code, in tech. It feels like there's a ton of updates all the time on everything. Yeah, which is such a vague statement to make, but accurate, right? Yeah. So, hello, it's not my birthday, but thank you for the wishes. Happy weekend. Oh yeah, it's almost weekend. We're almost there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is it going? Howdy do. Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. It's afternoon for me. Also, is my video choppy? It's just choppy enough on my end that I'm not sure. It might just be my computer exploding. That happens. What are y'all working on this week? I am working on an interesting one that I can't. It's an interesting one where I said I'd do it for a friend, and then I started scope creeping myself, and as one does, and it's a whole app now that I'm trying to reel back. But anyway, it is a scavenger hunt app. And she was just like, "Hey, how hard would it be to throw together some kind of scavenger hunt thing where like someone puts in an email and then like an answer to a clue and then they get access to the next page?" And I was like, psh, easy. And with GitHub Copilot, I can type in the prompt and you just get it, which is what I did. But then I was like, but what if I styled it a little bit more? What if I added a dashboard for how many people have submitted or completed the scavenger hunt? The scope creep wild. And so I'm now trying to stop myself before I give this little app to my friend. Yeah, it's a little bit choppy for you too. I don't know how to stop the choppiness. Maybe it's because my camera is so high res. I don't even know. But you can hear me. I'll fix it later. It's fine. But hello from the repos team. We got people working on repos. Thank you for your work. You keep us hosting the code. Hello, hello. Oh, you're playing with TanStack Start. That's a good one. That's also a really hard one to say. TanStack Start. That's one where like if I were doing an audio recording, which I've done a bunch of this week, I feel like I would trip over my words so much. I had to do a recording this week for a demo. And I had to say how Copilot can suggest and test changes, which I can say now clearly because I'm saying it slowly. But when you do it in a script and being just like, Copilot suggests and tests changes, suggests and tests changes, you stumble over your words a little bit. And that was a tough one to have to do over and over and over again. But yeah, there's almost daily updates. We are posting all sorts of things. If you want to talk to or hear more about Goose, they were featured on Open Source Fridays recently, which is a live stream that happens on Fridays, hence the name, on the GitHub channels. And you can go to GitHub's YouTube, which, do I have a link to that? That would be so cool. I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Anyway, if you go to the GitHub YouTube channel, you can see Open Source Fridays, and the Goose episode was really cool. You released this week a GitHub action, a PR jukebox that automatically comments with song recommendations whenever someone opens a pull request based on the comment. That's awesome. Oh, that's so fun. Cool. Goose is the AI thing from Block. The one, yes, Angie Jones. She was actually the featured speaker on Open Source Fridays who talked about Goose. It was a cool episode. Oh no, I'm sorry that that's what you're working on. It's never fun to be just like, oh, by the way, I'm working on errors, but that that is what it is. And I've found too recently that as I've been working through more and more projects, I've been relying on paper notes way more often than I have in the past. Like so something about like scribbling out a diagram or thinking about how something works has been better for my brain lately, and I'm not sure why. Maybe this is just aging, but does it always just post I didn't start the fire in every PR? That's a pretty good one. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and see if that helps the choppiness. No, it doesn't. It's fine. I share my screen so that way, like when I am ready to show code on this, then I can just click it over. But what can you do? Hello from Ethiopia. Oh my goodness, it's kind of late for you. Welcome. Hey, best codes, welcome. Yeah, so anyway, I am working on just kind of like fun little apps and stuff when I get a chance. And I've been playing a bunch more with GitHub Spark lately. Have y'all played with it? If you haven't, you should. We played with it 2 or 3 weeks ago on the stream, and it was really fun. And if you want, I can show you again. But I've been dabbling with more of what it can do, and it's a service tool thing that lets you make kind of mini apps. You don't have access still. Oh no. I'll poke the team. I use Copilot Workspace more than Spark though. That makes sense. Copilot Workspace is definitely more like robust apps, and Spark is more for like mini fun, silly things. But it's been very, very fun to play with. Let's see if I can share my screen again. But I was just talking to a friend of mine who won access to GitHub Spark in the Valentine's Day contest we had about a month ago, and she did like a youth translator, a Gen Alpha translator for Wikipedia. I don't know if Moriel is here in the chat. If you are, hey. But her app was so funny. Let me actually try to pull it up because it was very entertaining. 1 second. But keep sharing what you're working on. I'd love to see. La 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 la. Okay, I found it, and I'm gonna show ya this one. Okay, wait, why is it? You know what? It's fine. Okay, so this was her app, and she called it Rizpedia. So what you can do is, if you want to search for something on Wikipedia and have it translated to Gen Alpha, what's something that a youth might want to look up? I don't actually know. Ohio, great, thank you, love that. Ohio. It then will generate a search, but hypo, and then I don't know if I can read this with a straight face, but you know what? We're gonna try. Oh, oops, darn it. 1 second. I'll do it again. Yeah, I'm worried about reading this. All right, Gen Alpha Squad, let me put you onto Ohio real quick. No cap. Ohio's like smack in the middle of the US Midwest vibes. It's chilling up north by Lake Erie, big water energy, wave emoji, with neighbors like Pennsylvania, East Side Crew, West Virginia and Kentucky, South Squad, Indiana, West Side, and Michigan, Northwest homies. It's not the biggest state out there, like 34 place in size, but it's poppin' with almost 12 mil people, making it the seventh most crowded state. For real, Ohio's got that squad energy. I can't do this anymore. I'm stopping. But anyway, it's a cool translator that makes me want to run into a cave. Um, but yeah, it was a cool little app, and you can share this. And I think it's read only access, and you might have to have access to GitHub Spark to be able to go to this, but it's almost as bad as having to say hashtag before everything. I agree, almost. It's very, very funny. You're working on a deep research clone? Whoa. Hey, Andrea, what's up? I'm laughing so bad. I know. Yeah, and so like I did it for a few other things. Like I did one just like for GitHub. Um, I'm aware this one. And it was also one of those things where I was like, but also it's nice. GitHub? Oh, it's like the ultimate squad hangout for coders. No cap. Ugh. Ugh. Think of it as a digital HQ where devs, aka developers, collab, store their code, and keep their projects on point. It's powered like by Git, which is like the OG tool for tracking changes in code. Super clutch for real, for real. But GitHub isn't just about code. It's got all the extras: bug tracking, bye-bye glitches, feature requests, new ideas, who dis, task management, stay organized fam, wikis, basically project cheat sheets, and even tools for running tests automatically. Continuous integration if you want to sound fancy. And plot twist, it's been a part of Microsoft Squad since 2018. Based in California, GitHub is like the Silicon Valley MVP for devs everywhere. That one wasn't as bad, but I still am sad that I read the whole thing. Uh, what is the article for millennials? That's a great question. Millennials. I'm afraid, but let's try it. I know. So some of these I can't. Some of these I can't tell. Do we really want to know? I don't think so. All right, Gen Alpha, buckle up. Here's the T on millennials, aka Gen Y, no cap. Millennials are like the OG influencers of the 80s and 90s, babies. They're the squad that came after Gen X and showed up before Gen Z started running the show. Basically, if you're born between 1981 and 1996, congrats, you're a millennial. For real, for real. I'm so tired of the for real, for real. They're the kids of baby boomers, think your grandparents vibe, and older Gen Xers. So yeah, they've got that mix of vintage and cool. Oh, and plot twist, most millennials are now the parents of Gen Alpha. Yep, that's you. So if your parents are always talking about how they used to rock low-rise jeans, listen to CDs, or play Snake on their Nokia, now you know why. Why are you calling me out like that? Millennials were the blueprint for vibes back in the day, no cap. Oh man. Yeah. That one hurts a little bit. I don't enjoy that. But for the task that it's been given, good job. They did. What is this? Someone so her name is Moriel. Her handle is Muipu. She made this in GitHub Spark, and it is Rizpedia, a Gen Alpha translator for Wikipedia. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad I could start looking for flared jeans again since it's coming back. Yeah, no, there's some things where I was like, that's kind of cool again. Perhaps I'm cool? No, impossible. But yeah, I'm like fully at the point now where I'm just accepting, yes, I am getting old. Bring on the comforts. Bring on like tea and slow mornings. I don't need to be out partying from dusk. Perhaps I'm cool. Said no cool person ever. How dare you, sir? But very fair assessment. I understand. Gotta find that joy where we can. Yeah. Yeah. This one kind of hurt, Tom. Gotta say. I'm glad asking AI to explain an article like I was a preteen does not produce those results. Yeah, no, this one, what was cool is it produced like a pretty good prompt itself for it. And so again, GitHub Spark, you can say like, "Oh, let me do X, Y, and Z," and it'll create an app for you. And the thing that I thought was particularly neat, if you don't mind my skimming through the code really quick, is it generates the prompts that it's giving to the LLM to create the results here. And so this one, this prompt in particular says, "You're an expert at translating formal text into Generation Alpha slang, people born after 2010, while keeping the educational value intact. You keep the information accurate using modern internet slang and emojis and abbreviations. Add for real, and no cap. Aha! Reference current trends when relevant. Keep formatting and punctuation clean." But anyway, it's cool how it not only generates the app, but the prompt itself to help you uh, get accurate responses. Um, yeah, that one hurt though. What would another fun translation app be? Perhaps we can fork this and make it something a bit more friendly for us olds, or perhaps people who don't care about the generational divides, because we all just want to be friends and not tease each other, right? Just all in the pig Latin. I feel like that one you could actually do in code itself, right? Like that one doesn't actually need AI because it's taking the front part and just flipping it and adding a, right? Like ig pay atinlay. It's like taking the first letter, sticking it at the end, and adding ay. Yeah, so I don't know if that one needs a translator as much, or rather, it could be a translator, but it's like a JavaScript function. King James era. Oh, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Howdy. Old fashioned, Shakespearean. How about this? How about we do the, I'm going to fork it. Let's see. Is that the fork button? Heck yeah. Okay. And now instead of Rizpedia, I'm going to not name it that because that hurts my heart. We're going to be just like Funpedia. Okay, I'm just whatever. But what I want to do now at this point, instead of it just doing the Gen Alpha thing, I want to be able to say, "Oh, these are the options you have." So add a drop down for the style of translation we want. Currently, we only do the Generation Alpha translation, but I also want to have, and then let's see, we had Shakespearean. Did I spell that right? No, I didn't. Shakespeare. Oh, my word, I've made it worse. Let's see. Shakespearean, then a different language. I'm nervous about doing different languages ones. Cool person trying to come up with it. Tom, what is with all the roasting today? Let's see. Shakespearean. I'll add millennial. Pig Latin. But I also want to have Shakespearean, millennial, Pig Latin. What were some of the other ones? Old fashioned. Let's see. Pirate. I like that. Pirate. Ooh, Spanglish would be interesting. Like a really specifically interesting language one. Because it's like slangy translation. Business jargony. Ooh, I like that. I meant to a different language and then immediately back to English. Oh, so you get like the things lost in translation. Yeah. I don't know how to describe that in like a word though. Next fork. And then I'll do Valley Girl. Okay, go. Let's see what Spark can come up with. Ooh, Simlish and Animal Crossing. Although wouldn't that be just like you know? Lost in Translation. I like that. I like that. Have any of you heard of the book Babel by R.F. Kuang? Babel by R.F. Kuang. I'm reading it right now, very slowly, admittedly, but it's a fun one where it's all about the concept of things being lost in translation, where it's like if you were to translate boat from Mandarin to English, the word for boat in Mandarin means like fast, but it's boat. And so that meaning of fast is lost in translation when it goes back to English or when it goes to English. And you can capture that thing lost in translation into a silver bar and then it has powers. It's a sci-fi book or fantasy, one of those. Anyway, it's an interesting concept. It's been cool to see the world that is unfolding in that one. Two humans. Welcome. Oh, haiku. That's a good one. I should add a haiku for next time. Although LLMs are not very good at counting syllables. It's kind of like if you ask an LLM like how many R's are in strawberry, it's never accurate. Uh, Something like counting syllables would not be great. Oh no, Spark is out of date. Okay. Refresh? I've never seen that. Wait, did I just lose my prompt? No! Dang it, I did. Ah, okay. Fine. I guess we're going to start over. Whatever. I guess I'm not naming it Funpedia, Tom. I don't know what else to call it though. Whatever. Okay, let's see. Right now, the app only translates to Generation Alpha slang. Please add a drop down for the following other themes as well, or other translations. Okay, so let's see. We had Shakespearean. I did spell it wrong last time. Okay. I remember Valley Girl, Spanglish, poetry, geriatric millennials unite. Yeah. Although I've been told I'm what is it called? It was like a core millennial or a pure millennial or whatever, a true millennial. Because I'm like, you know how they say anybody born in like 1990 or 1991 is like the peak millennial. That's what it is. I am a peak millennial. And they're just like, you got to experience all the old stuff and the new stuff. Plus, you graduated college right during a recession. And we're just like, yeah. Okay. Anyway, Valley Girl, Spanglish, poetry, pirate. Yes, good. Remember. Old English. Although Old English and Shakespearean might kind of be the same thing. If you haven't seen the Star Wars prequels, you are not a peak millennial. I'm sorry. Oh, well, I guess I'm disqualified. Oops. Was there any others that I'm forgetting? We'll leave it at these for now. We'll see what it comes up with. What are we doing? We are looking at GitHub Spark. If you don't know what GitHub Spark is, let me pull up spark.githubnext.com. Blam! This you can ask for access to it, but it's a micro app generator from GitHub that's pretty cool. Um, oh wow, look at that. It's kind of fun seeing all the prompts that are coming in. But it's a really cool tool for prototyping apps and making like small little tools. I've made kind of a ridiculous number of small little tools for myself that have been really nice. And now we're doing a translator that we forked from uh, Muriel Schottlander. She had made a Gen Alpha Wikipedia translator, and now we're doing it to translate various other things as well. For real, no cap. Ohio Riz. Yeah, the sparkle animations they're cute. I like it. What's the set timeout and the use effect used for? You mean in this app or in general? Let me know because I can explain. You know what? I'll just explain it while this is rendering. In set timeout in JavaScript, that is for setting like an actual timer thing. Like if you want a function to happen like after 3 seconds, that's what set timeout is for. A similar function to set timeout is set interval, and that's something that you want to happen after every 3 seconds or whatever. Use effect is for keeping things in sync with each other. And so, for example, let's just say you want to make something change colors based on how many characters are in an input box or whatever. You could have the use effect pay attention to like the characters and stay in sync with that count, if that makes sense. Oh, and in this code specifically, let's find out. I will try. Well, and you see, I agree with you in production apps. This is making like micro fun apps. It's fun. Okay, cool. So now we have various things. Let's start with Shakespearean, and what do we want to look up? Let's look up cool S. You know what I'm talking about, where you draw the cool S. That thingy. The chilled X. The cool X, a mark of curious repute, is also height, the universal S, the Stussy X, the super X, S, the pointy S, and the graffiti S. A symbol of artful scribblings in the lore of children, it doth oft appear as idle scrawl upon the pages of youthful notebooks or as bold etchings upon the walls of the city. Its true genesis remaineth shrouded in the mists of time, yet 'tis known to have risen to prominence in the dawning days of the 1970s, entwined with the burgeoning craft of graffiti, that rebellious art born of the streets. Lovely. Oh, I need to roll the R's. Do I? Mark? No, that I feel like that's a different accent. I'll do that with Spanglish. Okay, let's see. The next one. Let's try Valley Girl and a new search. What should the search be? Plop something in the chat if you want me to look something up. Otherwise, I'll look up merge sort. Like totally merge sort, you know? OMG, like in computer science, merge sort is like totally efficient, general purpose, and like comparison based sorting algorithm. Most of the time, it like produces a stable sort, which like means the relative order of equal elements is like totally the same in the input and the output. Merge sort is like a divide and conquer algorithm, and like it was invented by John von Neumann in like 1945. Gag me with a spoon, but a detailed description and analysis of like bottom up merge sort, it like showed up in a report by Goldstein and von Neumann and as early as like 1948. Totally rad, right? Thank you. Thank you very much. I worked very hard on this. Thank you. Hunger you mentioned, yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. Do you stream on other channels? I stream on my own channel, which is at Casadoo, but I haven't done it in a minute just because I'm busy. But that is otherwise this is where we're at. As F. Yeah. So fun. Okay. Cool. Let's not do that again. Spanglish. What should we do in Spanglish? I'm like looking around at my desk. Cell phone. Cellular phono. That's so stupid. Okay. Oh man, I don't really like this. Claro que sí. Aquí va la traducción en Spanglish. A mobile phone o cell phone es un teléfono portátil que. Okay, this is just Spanish. This isn't even Spanglish. Hoy en día, yeah, like, come on. This we need to improve. This one needs tweaking. I'm not pleased with the results of this one. We'll improve that because the fact that cellular phono is the most Spanglish of this term and it's not even good Spanglish. Nah. No. We need to improve that prompt. Okay, cool. Poetry. What would be a fun little poem to come up with? I feel like it should be something particularly stupid. Por un radio frequency parece good, no? Yeah, that's a good point. Shrek, love it. Okay. Let's see what we get. Ogre's Tale of Love and Lore. Oh man. In the year of 2001, a tale took flight, an animated film bathed in fantasy's light. Shrek its name, a comedy grand, born of Stieg's book, a picture so planned. Directed by Adamson and Jensen's hand, with pens of Elliot Rossio, a talented band. Joined by Stillman and Schulman's might, the first of a series, a cinematic delight. Mike Myers gave voice to an ogre so green, with Eddie Murphy as Donkey, lively and keen. Cameron Diaz as Princess Confined, and Lithgow's Farquaad with a twisted mind. In a swamp where peace once lay serene, Shrek's home was invaded by creatures unseen. Fairy tale exiles cast out by decree, by Farquaad's obsession they lost their free. To reclaim his swamp, Shrek struck a deal. With Donkey beside him, their fate was sealed, to rescue Fiona from her tower so high. Through trials and perils beneath the wide sky, a tale of courage, of laughter and cheer, of unlikely bonds that grew ever near. Shrek stands tall, a legend now told, a story of heart, both tender and bold. That's fantastic. That's really good. Yeah, no, reasonable rhyming. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, tongue twister one. That's a good idea. Yeah. I like the idea of adding a tongue twister one. I might replace Spanglish with it because I'm not pleased with that one. And then pirate. I'll do Plex. No, that's not helpful. Oh, because it's doing like what it might be referring to. Okay. Shrek is peak millennial for sure. For real. No cap. What would a good pirate one be? Ship of Theseus. Love it. It knew. Theseus' cursed vessel. Gather round, mateys, and lend an ear to this here tale of the ship of Theseus, also known as Theseus' paradox. 'Tis a curious conundrum, it be, a thought experiment that sails the seas, o philosophy. It asks, it does, whether a vessel, after having all its timbers and planks replaced one by one over time, remains the same ship as it once was. Aye, 'tis a puzzler fit for any salty dog pondering the nature of identity and change. That felt kind of piratey. The I and the R towards the end really fit there. Otherwise, it just felt a little slangy. But it worked. It worked. It's fine. I'm going to say replace the Spanglish one with a tongue twister one. Because I don't feel like tweaking a prompt for Spanglish, honestly, right now. That one, it was just kind of translating. I wasn't pleased with it. But anyway, that's GitHub Spark. It's kind of fun, right? Yeah, tongue twister sounds like it'll be an interesting one. Make the Spanglish one less racist and bad. I know, right? I wasn't gonna go there, but you know, it's fine. Dr. Cox explains to JD, oh, from Scrubs. I think you've said this before, but I like skimmed past it on accident. That would be kind of fun one, but it would be just like cool or something. I don't know if it would capture that. Is this GitHub for real? For real, for real. No cap. Did it mess up? What's going on? But you know what I can do? Because it just says other prompts remain the same, I think it just got confused. I'm going to copy the tongue twister one and then go back. So let's go back in history, back to these ones. And then instead of Spanglish, I'm going to call it tongue twister and just edit the code. Yeah, it didn't give the full code. It was just wrong there, but that's okay. That's the joy of prompting. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get because it's non-deterministic. Okay. Tongue twister. Nice. Okay, so now if we do tongue twister, what should we twist? It's really hard to come up with these. My mind goes blank. So I'm like, what are objects? I'm gonna say Game Boy Color. How about that? Did I say that because I have one right here? Yes, I did. Okay. Bold Boys Brightly Bouncy Buttons. The Game Boy Color, a groovy gadgety game gizmo, got going in Japan on a jolly October 21st, 1998, and journeyed to a jovial global markets in Jazzy November. Jazzy November. I think this is just doing alliterations rather than tongue twisters, but that's okay. Compared to its grayscale grandparent, the Game Boy Color flaunts a colorful, crisp, chromatic TFT screen instead of a murky, monotone monochrome. Its peppy processor powers up at twice the pace, and its mighty memory multiplies fourfold for more marvelous moments. Okay, this is hard to read. Gamers gladly get backward compatibility, bringing beloved bygone Game Boy games back to bright, brilliant life. Whew. Ugh. Does Spark always use React by default? By default, it does. I have been able to just say, like, use just vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I think it's because if you look at the code itself, it has these GitHub Spark components that it plops in, which is somewhat hard to see on this screen. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. You know, okay, you can kind of see it. It has all of these components that are pre-made, and these components are React components. Bye, Linda. See you later. And so that it's just for like mocking up the things relatively quickly. But once again, I've been able to say just do vanilla, and it will do that. I haven't been able to get it work for other frameworks, and I think that's because of these components. But I'm willing to try now. Let's try it right now. We had our fun with the translator. This was cool, right? I'm gonna save this. That'll be fun. But let's just say we want to do, I don't know, an app made with Vue.js to help you track how much water you drink. Whenever you click the I drank water button, it says, "Good job, my son," and gives you a gold star. I don't know. Okay. So I'm curious to see if you say this Vue.js part, if that'll actually work. I kind of doubt it, but I'm curious now. Okay, the code is very Vue-y, but will it render? Let's find out. Yeah, it's not rendering. I think because Vue has to use like the external Vue libraries, that's why it doesn't let you, but it does let you do it in vanilla. So if I were to iterate on this, here I'll expand this and say, instead of Vue.js, let's do this in vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's when it'll do that. So yeah, I think that's the problem, quote unquote, for prototyping. It's a little less like experiment with the technologies and more see if you can get the app out there. Which that just means it's different audiences, you know? Like I think for myself personally, if I wanted to mock up an app quickly, I could do this to be just like, okay, yeah, I can visualize that. And then I'd probably write a lot of things myself. Okay, I drank water. Good job, my son. And then I get a star. Hooray. Wow, I feel good. I'm going to drink some water now. I drank water. Yay. Oh, that's kind of cool. It randomizes where the star is. Hey. Oh, it's funny. But again, as you can see, when you're not installing dependencies and stuff, it's actually quite nice because you get the full CSS file, the full HTML, and the full script. Because I will say, one of the things that we haven't done yet in general is ways of exporting these Sparks outside of just giving a Spark URL, and that's because of the components and the LLM stuff that works directly on this domain. But when you do things in plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, that's more copy and pasteable. Where actually, I'm going to try this. I wonder, I'm not going to get in trouble at work. Nah. I'm going to open up CodePen and try that. So what if I made a new pen and I just straight up copied all of this? Where that's the HTML, that's the CSS, and then that's the JavaScript. Let's see. Careful, Uncle Satya's watching. I know. Oh, cool. Randomized where the stars. Meanwhile, some internet NASA checking the status. The sun is seeing some odd warnings on their screen. Yeah. Okay, cool. I drank water. Wow. Good job, my son. Oh, it still works. Yeah, see? There you go. So that's the secret. If you want to export something from GitHub Spark, you just ask it for something in vanilla. And we will not be telling Uncle Satya this. And this, yes, is on a public channel, but who's gonna know, right? Who's gonna know? I'm gonna have so many messages. It's fine. I'm going to say water tracker, kind of, or water encourager. That feels more accurate to what this is. There we go. I'm just gonna save this and I'm gonna just publicly let it be on my CodePen profile. So if y'all want to have an app say, good job, my son, whenever you drink water, this is the app for you. And I'm gonna actually do a little bit of tweaks because I'm scope creeping myself. Font family, sans serif, bam. Nice. Wow, that's so fun. Thanks, GitHub Spark. You did it. And now it's real. So anyway, it's kind of a cool little thing, right? You can prototype stuff. Again, I think it's less because developers are who we talk to so much. Developers are obviously like, wait, but the code is React and I want to write it in Svelte. Or, but wait, I want to tweak X, Y, and Z. And you do have the ability to tweak and do things in Spark, but we are not necessarily the perfect audience for it, I think. And I think that's the shtick. That's the dealio, as the youths say. Anyway, where this is definitely meant for people who want to come up with an app idea or prototype an app idea but don't want to build it. And then if you really want to build it, that's where you go to actual code and do that. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have questions about it? Or about anything? We could talk about GitHub. We could talk about Copilot. We could talk about a meme you saw recently. We could talk about the generational divide. We could talk about the implications of anything. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. But yeah, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to drink more water and then click this thing so it says, "Good job, my son," one more time. Lovely. For those wondering, by the way, we have added another iteration of Rubber Duck Thursdays. And so if you want to come here and watch code at a time zone that is more convenient for you, there's the 10 a.m. GMT version. So I'm in US Central Time, so that's 4 a.m. for me. Do the math. And then there's also a new Portuguese version that started today in Brazil. And that is, oh, I should have the time known. It's before this one. It's like 2 hours before this one. Do the math once again. And that one is in Portuguese language if you want to listen to that. Does GitHub Copilot accept Figma? GitHub Copilot now has vision input, which I think might include Figma. GitHub Copilot Vision. Let me pull it up. It's super new. Like I truly looked at it yesterday for the first time. It is in public preview. And 1 second. We release so many things, which is both very cool, but also I can't keep track of everything. So let's see. All of these changelog items were yesterday, March 12th, March 12th, March 12th, March 11th, March 11th. Let's see. Xcode. La 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 la. DeepSeek is now available. Issues and projects and GPT for personal custom instructions. Aha, vision input. Okay, cool. This was last week. So if you want to attach images and work with them directly in GitHub Copilot chat, you can. And I'm going to paste this in the chat if you want to see. The link doesn't go to LinkedIn, and so I'm sorry that you can't click it from there, but you can look at it or find it in the GitHub changelog itself. But yeah, you can attach images and work with them directly in Copilot chat. And so there's an example where you could literally screenshot the code and it could explain code to you that is screenshotted, but you can also give it a screenshot of an app and say, hey, I want you to help me put this together, or I want you to help me improve X, Y, and Z. And yeah, the vision input is very, very neat. And so it works in Copilot chat in VS Code and Visual Studio now. It used to only be available in VS Code Insiders and Visual Studio Preview, but now, la-di-da, it is available. It is available for all of the editors. Clicky-de-linky. Does Spark work with Vite? Vite is not from Vercel. Vite is its own thing. Spark does not build, and so Vite is not necessarily a build tool that would be relevant to a Spark app. If you export a Spark app in some way and you want to have it compile with Vite as like a runner, yes, but that is it it is not a thing that compiles necessarily. Like there's no need to include Vite as is. Does that answer your question? Let me know. Um, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Vision input. And so that like lightly answers your question about Figma stuff, where it you can put a screenshot of a Figma mockup into Copilot chat. Something that my teammate did that was actually really cool. If you've played with what a cool way to prototype. I know, right? It's really, really fun. My coworker, she used Claude to generate a mock-up of an app she wanted to make, and then she copied that mock-up image into Copilot chat and then used agent mode to generate the app. So she literally like was able to just say, "Hey, you LLM, generate this thing. Great, thanks. Hey, you LLM, build this thing that was generated." And she did not have to write any code, which was really cool. And granted, she wrote code later. She made it more functional. But the fact that she was able to go from idea to mock-up to a basic prototype without having to touch any code was pretty cool. What's been happening? Hello. I was talking about the vision input in GitHub Copilot. Yes, LLM Inception. LLMception. Yeah. Where you can input images into Copilot chat and it can explain code in an image or work with a mockup and stuff. And yeah, my coworker was able to say to a different LLM, generate a thing, and then, yeah, put that in Copilot and make the app. Sorry, my brain got really tired there for a second. But yeah, it's really cool. Definitely check out the changelog. There's been so many things releasing recently. It's github.blog/changelog that I personally can't keep up, but it's awesome. Are there any legal implications of building something with Spark? Currently, as far as I know, no. Like where it's a tool that we made free to the public to see how people experiment with it. And from there we will figure out what should we do? Like do we want to make it like a thing that anybody can access, not just people who request access? What apps do people want to use? We want to make it so you can export Sparks to a GitHub repo and everything, but what will that look like? There's that conversation happening on our end, but otherwise for you, build whatever you want. Like I don't know what legal implications you're thinking of, but in my head, I think you should be fine. But I'm also not a lawyer, so take it with a light grain of salt. From one developer to another, just build, you know? Let's see. Hello, hi. DLLMs interest me. DLLMs. What does the D stand for in DLLMs? The word that popped in my head was reasoning, dreasoning, but that's not a real word. So, oh, diffusion LLMs. Oh, yeah, that is interesting. How do you publish a portfolio? Depends on how you build the portfolio or how you do the portfolio or what your portfolio is. If you want, you could use something like GitHub Pages, which is it's literally pages.github.com, and I can paste that in the chat. If you make a static website, you can freely host it on GitHub Pages, and you just push it and it works, and that's pretty nice. If you want something like a step more complex, I'd recommend something like Netlify. If you need more server power, then something like a fly.io or a Heroku or something. All that being said, if your portfolio is just a bunch of images or something and you might not necessarily want to build it yourself, host it on something like a Squarespace or a Wix or a tool where you can kind of drag and drop stuff, you know? Like you don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time. Oh, for legal stuff, I was thinking about license or if you were to add monetization somehow. Currently, no, there's nothing like that right now. We probably should think about it in the future, but once again, Spark is currently for just making micro apps and prototyping. And so you couldn't necessarily add monetization now the way it is currently. But let's just say you start with an app in Spark, you export the codes that you want into your own code base, and then build a tool that you've monetized or something. That's your app. It's just like it's just like Copilot, where if Copilot were to help you build a monetized app, GitHub isn't going to take your money. That's no. It's considered open source. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Help! I've been personally attacked. That's correct. That was specifically meant for you, Aaron, but also for real. I say this because I also reinvent the wheel far too often. And that is honestly probably my favorite thing about a lot of these LLM tools and AI tools is that it forces me to think, hey, am I rewriting this from scratch unnecessarily? Probably. Have the LLM help you out a little bit and just do the thing and build the custom stuff that you need to do in your brain that doesn't need to be reinventing the wheel, you know? All right. We have about 3 minutes left until the top of the hour, and then I have to run to a meeting because the clock moves forward. But if anybody has any last questions about GitHub stuff, Spark stuff, Copilot stuff, the changelog, career, computers, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Next week, we'll be here again, writing some code, doing some things. Fancy running shoes? I don't run. I love to sit. Hokas? People like those. Yeah. Um, uh, let's do Raspberry Pi stuff one of these days. I have one in like my drawer over there. You're right. I should do something with it. Ah, later. With Copilot and whatnot. Yeah, I should. You're right. Hardware stuff, I'm just not good at it enough that I end up like wrecking something and then I'm like, oh, it involves so much work to fix this again. Whereas with code, I can just like hit delete or reclone a branch or like do the whole rebasey thing and it'll be fine. But yeah, you're right. No, I know you mean no pressure. The pressure is fully coming from me looking at the hardware projects that I have in a box where I'm like, I said I'd work on that. Why haven't I? It's my own fault. But anyway, I will see you all next week. We'll do some coding on some things. If you have any requests of anything that we work on, this video recording will be on YouTube. Like, add it in the comments because I read those. Please be nice to me. Or respond to GitHub on like Blue Sky or wherever you are. This is where I am. And I'll see you all next week. It's been fun. I'll talk to you later. And yeah, thanks. Bye. Bye bye now. See you later. Bye bye.